Okay, so today we're talking about Andromeda, right? And this is the piece that really emphasizes what I call my baby doll style. You have the arching of the back, significant arching of the back, the very tilted out upper torso area, countered by the head positioning. This is a simple little thing, but for me, it really emphasizes the feminine form. So even if you look at Andromeda from this angle, or from this crop view, and of course, let's say I'm cropping her out here, which of course that tells people that she's a female, but just taking that out, just this bodily structure here is unique to the female form, unique to the female form. And it actually exists, and particularly like in photography, I would always seek that form. I would always seek that arch in that person. And it exists in almost all well-toned females. You'll be able to find that form. Now, if you're doing an illustration or if you're doing photography and you seem like you just can't find the female form, it's generally because, or the female or the feminine essence of the model or of your subject matter that you're illustrating. It's generally because of that. You just can't draw breasts and hips and then go, it's a female, or it's gonna exude feminine. That's the key. You can't just draw breasts and hips and say it exudes femininity, because technically, actually, it doesn't. Femininity doesn't rely upon breast size or hip size. What it relies upon is the actual rhythm that one experiences. Let's see this in reverse then, and then you see it even better. That's what exists, right? Also the female hip. We're going to look at this, and I'll do this. I'm going to take a closer look at the baby doll style in a second with some drawing. But also you'll see how high up the hip starts, right? It starts really high. Now, of course, this back is bending, but you see there's very little gap between the rib cage area and the actual upper part of the pelvis, right? How that looks. So when I'm drawing, so how does this look when I'm drawing? So let's just look at her like this again, and I'll just show her upside down, since that's the way I draw her a lot, or drew a lot, some of it, right, upside down. Remember I said before, getting the weight of making sure, making it, it has to feel like it should feel like it's resting on the ceiling in order to have proper weight, the way the body's collapsing. So it's not just posed, but it's also collapsing, right? So we want to get that rhythm. Same thing you see here with and then this is all done very quickly. Same thing you see in the rhythm of the drapery, well, it's really drapery that's wrapped around her. It's not an actual dress. It's like a drape that's going. Right, and she's holding it together. Okay, technically she's pretending it's a dress. So it's the whole story behind Andromeda. Very, very deep story. It's not published yet, so I can't really go into detail, but it's a very deep story. Um, you see how she's holding, but you see the simple things I'm doing, the simple things I'm gesturing in. You go, oh, she's holding the drape, but when you go up close, that's all you have. This is all the information you have. Right? That's all the information you have on the fist. That's all the information you have on the drape. Right? Okay. Let's look at it. Same thing with the gesture and head structure. Notice the tilt, right? So it's not straight up. Notice it's tilted down, right? Suggestion of the puffy lip, just a little bit, just a little bit. A lot of it falls straight into shadow. How much shadow do we actually have? And do we have it with line? Let me see. Do I have it with just pure line? Let me see if I can turn on. No, we got too much color. We have too much color with that pure line. Let me see. Oh, I guess we can. right? So you can get a better understanding, right? One more, one more. There you go, pure line, okay? This is just pure line, all right? And so you see how heavy I am. Now, what I really like about how I work with this, because I did this before I fell in love with my work, right? Is the fact that I don't, like this would be like considered like very rough, loose ink, right? Very rough, loose ink. And I'm not talking about being a professional inker. So for professional comic book inkers, like, oh my God, whatever. And some would say it's an aesthetic, whatever it is, because it is an aesthetic, because mine is, because the way I do it is consistent. I do this first. So it's not that I do the illustration and then, or do the line work and then come in and then ink and then block in and then try to have it and then try to give the ink all this kind of loose character. No, this is the drawing first. This is the ink. This is the what's the very first thing that's laid down is this. Then comes it. Then all I do is begin to emphasize the different aspects based upon the lighting. That's what determines the colors of things for me a lot. So like she's titanium, but there's going to be a lot of blue hues that run through her and stuff because in order for metals to really, really have that sense of being metallic, it's great for them to reflect the outer world, not studio world, because if you do a studio world, it's going to be a lot of black and whites reflected all in the metal, so it's just going to kind of look chaotic. But more of a Suriyama stylish kind of approach, where you're dealing with the sky and the earth kind of thing. And if I can just turn it back on, just with that one little conversation one more time. I don't have this one dialed in for presentation, so this is just literally just the original. And you can see how it steps through, right? And there's something that's going to be turned on that shouldn't be turned. So something's turned on that shouldn't be turned on. I think it's this one. Let's say I think it's this one. Cool. All right, but let's go for this because it's very similar, right? So like with the leg, so she has a titanium. She's made out of like a titanium type of metal. But I have these blue hues that are running through her, right? And then the lighter tones, which is basically if you encapsulated this in an angle like this, if you look at it like this, it's basically representing like a horizon, right? So even though this is the specularity, right? It's catching, but the way the specularity is catching. So if you looked at it like this is a natural horizon where you actually have the landmass, you actually have you have the gradating sky, right? And then you actually have wherever the sunlight is positioned. Now that kind of an approach to metal will give you that level of reflectivity that you're looking for without having to be overly illustrative about it, throwing down heavy lines for a horizon and stuff. As long as you have it in your mind, just as long as you understand it, then just to suggest it a little bit goes a long, long, long way. And then because you're dealing with that as well as the top aspect of the metal, which is where you're gonna get your specularity and what type of specularity you have. Now this stuff is very loose, right? Okay, so it's not like it is the style that it is, but that is what is thought about when I work this stuff in. Same thing when it came to like doing my dress. Her dress was supposed to be simpler, obviously, to make the metal, to make the gesturally metal, to make the gesturally metal stand out even more. I wanted to simplify the drape/dress even more. And I didn't want to have any aspect of reflectivity whatsoever in regards to the metal. So that way you'd have that high contrast. Well, obviously we see that very clearly here. This is a great example of that, where the drape is showing self-shading in a very dramatically different way than the self-shading of the actual metal, which is almost basically, is in one way or another, is self-illuminating itself. Like the lower part of the breast is picking up ambient light that's being bounced by her rib cage or something in here. So you get that kind of secondary thing going on that is not present whatsoever in the drape, right? And so it's simple things like that It's kind of like, you know, remember I don't know if you saw the other video when I showed like my egg and ribbon heart charcoal. It is literally the egg and ribbon challenge on a simple level, right? So you have a ribbon, and then you have, you know, an egg or a totally opposite type of material, and so that's what was going on through my mind. The different aspects of color. This is very, when I color, it's the same thing as when I do my line work or the actual drawing or the my heavy drawing, right? I guess you just want to call it the heavy drawing. Um, it's very loosely done, right? It's very loosely done, very gesturally, and it happens very fast. So as soon as I see one color, then I immediately think, okay, I got orange. Oh, let me go with the green, and then I'm working like that. And as soon as I see like a weird combination like that happen, then I'm like, oh, it's got some green, so maybe I need to use some orange. And I usually bring mine down much. Oopsie, keep on doing that. Much further than that, right? It all depends on how I'm drawing, but or what I'm envisioning, right? And so with this flow, this is baby doll. This is this is Brent's baby doll, or how I what I think, and that's the only way I can deem it. I call it baby doll. Um, but I'll go over like how I do what other drawings. And with baby doll, as long as you're flowing with the form, right? As long as you're flowing with the form, as long as you're flowing with the form, then the hair can become almost anything, right? Yeah, somewhere in here is the is my form. Somewhere in there, as I'm sitting here butchering, right? Because first off, the neck is not right. The neck is next at an angle. Um, we just keep it simplified like that because not time for detail, right? But hopefully that gives everybody an understanding of baby doll. I usually round out the breast, go very exaggerated, have them sit up really high like this. They have to come across on the form, right? Like that. Okay. And that approach, that approach literally leads to, or this understanding leads to an overall form like this. Okay. Right. And understanding where the hips, once again, where the hips start up high here, right? That they start up high, crop should be here probably, right? And it's like this. Okay. And so this is the feminine form. For me, this is the feminine form. Okay. All right. And you see it here really, really, really kicked in. Really kicked in. If I could do it like this, then you could see. Okay. So it's everything I just finished saying, but if we do it in a three-dimensional sense, it's everything I just finished saying. You got her pelvis is really, really dipped in. Right. And then just connecting here. Right. I know I'm drawing all over it, but hopefully you can understand. And then, but the main thing is you see, so the main thing is that you see that we have her torso here, and her pelvis, even though it rotates here for her leg, femur, the actual leg itself starts way up here. The fatty tissue and everything starts way up there. Okay, way, way, way up here. Okay, and then her leg is down here. Same thing, and then you got the arching here, and then you got the leg. The other leg would be in there, something like this. Okay, and then everything else becomes secondary. Shoulder, shoulder. Start to work our way out. Okay, hopefully it makes some sense, right? To anybody watching. Okay. All right, because I have too much fun talking about it. But it may be a little confusing for some who may not get it. But hopefully this gives everybody a little information, and they hopefully you found it entertaining. So thanks for watching.